Okay, so welcome to today's class. Last week we did listening. I'm going to post it just in case you missed last week so that you could go through it. Today we're going to focus on speaking, and because it is recorded, I'm going to be fast so that we don't take too much time. You can always go through it again. Okay, so let's have an understanding of what the speaking test looks like. What this training does to us is it prepares us not just for the exam alone, but for what the exam looks like, so that on that day you're not surprised. You don't just go there and start surprising yourself. Okay, so let's understand how it works, so that when anything happens, we are like, she told me, oh, I saw it on YouTube, I've already prepared for this. So you're not scared. I'm totally against going into Ielts exam hall and beginning to understand how it works in there. Be prepared ahead of time. Know what this is. So whether you're doing the computer-based or you're doing the paper-based, right? The speaking is the same. Unlike others that have some differences, the speaking is the same, irrespective of the type you are doing, computer-based or paper-based. So the speaking test is usually between 11 to 14 minutes. That's how long it lasts, all right? And it's simply you sitting with your examiner, just the two of you, nobody else, one-on-one, facing each other across a table. You're seated, he's seated. And the speaking test has 3 parts. Okay, it has 3 parts. The first part, you guys are just having a chit chat. You guys are just having fun. Okay, and the questions you're asked at this point are like basic questions, nothing out of the box, nothing to scare you. It's a question everybody can relate with. It could be about what you like, what do you do, your job, what languages do you speak. So it is not a question that can take anybody off the radar. Like, you can deal with this, you can deal with it. It's something everybody can. Familiar questions, personal topics. Okay. So you're asked those topics and you're now supposed to respond to those topics. That's part one. Part two is what we call the long turn, right? The long turn, you're going to be given a card. So in some of the IELTS training online that I see, it says you're going to be given a card with some small topics that you should fill. But when I had my IELTS, I was given a plain card. There was nothing written on the card. So I don't know if you're going to be given a plain card or you're going to be given a card with a bullet point. Whatever be the case, okay, they're going to give you a topic and give you 1 minute to prepare your answer. So that card you are being given, we're still going to take this part one, part two, part three, one after the other. All right. So I'm just giving an overview. So the card you're given, you're supposed to use 1 minute to prepare the answer you want to tell them. Okay. So, and in that card, what you should write, if it is a plain card, like during my time, it was a plain card, nothing, absolutely nothing was written on it. So I put down bullet points, okay? Bullet points of what you want to say. So they ask you a question. Let me just use a normal question, like your best experience in life. You can now say bullet point 1, Dubai, bullet point 2, 2019, Dubai. Do you understand? So that when you now want to speak, if you look at Dubai, you now know what you want to say. If you look at 2019, you now know what you want to say. If you look at the food you ate, you now know what you want to say. So you have to prepare in 1 minute what you'll be speaking in the next 2 minutes. So one thing people I know during my time when we came out of the exam hall, I got talking with every other person. They were like, I was very, very fast to finish what is on my paper. Now you will finish and realize that 2 minutes is still remaining. So it is better you talk and then stop you when it gets up to 2 minutes than you just want to finish. Okay, it was when I went to Dubai, it was in 2019. Oh, I love the food, blah, 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 because you're trying to finish. And you will not finish what is on your paper, he will not be looking at you. Because you have 2 minutes and you have to use your 2 minutes. So it's better you overwrite than on the right. So part 2 is you are given a topic. They will now give you a card where you should prepare in 1 minute what you want to speak in the next 2 minutes. And the entire part 2 takes about 3 to 4 minutes. Then the last is the part 3, which is assumed to be the most difficult part. All right. You're given a general and an abstract question. All right. So in this part, you're actually supposed to demonstrate your speaking skills. Give details to your answer. Don't just say, what if they ask you what's your favorite food, you say rice and chicken, and that's all. You have to explain why is rice and chicken your favorite food. Don't give a direct response. Go ahead and explain the why. Okay, so there are still some other W's I'm going to be exposing us to tonight. So this is just an overview of the speaking test. So in this speaking test, which lasts up to about 14 minutes, they are going to be rating you based on 4 things. Number 1, your fluency and your coherence. Now, your fluency is your ability to keep talking. Just as you finish one, you're saying the next. Is a flow, is a continuous flow. That's your fluency, ability to keep talking. Then your coherence is your ability to make sense. So don't just keep talking and you're talking nonsense. Okay, so to keep talking is like, okay, I remember in 2019, I went to Dubai. It was an amazing experience, so I'm talking, but not making sense is in 2019, I went to Dubai. It was a very wonderful holiday, but I didn't know when I was not in Port Harcourt, and you have gone, you have gone off key. Let's go consign Dubai, go consign Port Harcourt. So you have to like make sense with your connecting words. So they're going to be rating you based on that, number 1. Now, number 2 is your lexical resources. My husband calls it the lexicons. So this is how much vocabulary you use. Now, this vocabulary can be tempting. Okay, because Ielts wants us to speak English. You will now use vocabulary that does not relate. I was flabbergasted. I was elated. What's that English? Elated, right? Let me be asking people that know how to speak English around me here. You now can use English that does not relate to your sentence. So in as much as using vocabulary gives you a good point, please use vocabulary vocabulary you understand what it means. Don't go now use a word that means I was angry, but what you are trying to say is I was excited. Do you understand? Use vocabulary that you know how to use. Then your grammatical range and accuracy. Are you using the right grammar structure? Are you using past tense instead of present tense? Are you using singular instead of plural? Are you using the right grammar structure? Don't go and now speak another thing. It's all right. Then the last thing they're going to be rating you based on is your pronunciation. How clear is your message? One thing you should not do, please don't try it. Forget that sometimes Mrs. West will speak English, Funel will enter. This Funel, we have been speaking it for a very long time. But if phonetic English is not your thing, speak your normal English. As a matter of fact, that day I was trying to even sound more Nigerian than British. So don't go and now start speaking phonetic, and in trying to speak your phonetic, you now went to go and speak something that does not make sense. That's how you're not using, there's no L in, so because you're trying to form phonetic, you now go off range. So speak your English. I can never forget the argument I had with my examiner during my turn. He asked me what's my favorite TV show in the first question, so it was just a chit chat. My favorite TV show. I said, I don't watch TV. Like I don't. He said, no, it's impossible. Why would I say I don't watch TV? I said, because I don't watch TV. I have a television in my house. I have a television in my room, but I'm sure it's almost like 5 years. I've not like sat down 30 minutes watching that TV. Maybe you should ask me my favorite YouTube channel. Then I could tell you, okay, I love Koinonia. I love this. That was my discussion with him. It was an argument, and he was insisting that it is impossible that I don't have a favorite TV show. And I stood my ground. That, oh boy, I didn't say, oh boy. I didn't say, oh boy, please. I was like, see, I don't have, I'm more online than on TV. And, in speaking, I scored a whooping 8 after arguing. So don't think you now want to impress somebody, you're now speaking something that now takes you off balance. Make sure you are understood. Pick your words one by one so that they are hearing what you're saying clear. Okay? So once you get seated, once it's your turn, remember I said it is one-on-one. It is one-on-one. Once you get seated, first of all, they're going to ask you for your ID card, which is usually your international passport. Without an international passport, you cannot take Ielts. You cannot even register for Ielts without an ID card. Even if you're not even with the physical copy, it is important I say this. If you're not with the physical copy, as in the main international passport, but you have the scanned copy on your phone or you have the photocopy, you will not take it. Even if you have paid that money, you will not enter the exam hall. You need to have your international passport with you to take this exam. Please, let's have that somewhere. All right. So you'll be asked for that, your international passport. When you give it to them, as you hand it over to your interviewer, whether male or female, he will be introducing himself to you, or she will be introducing herself to you while checking your passport. Maybe they could ask you, okay, you are Vadina, you're this and that. From that introduction of himself, okay, so my name is this, I'm going to be examiner today. He will just flow into the part one of the speaking. He will not say, okay, so what do you do? In your mind, you think it's still introduction we're doing. Meanwhile, IELTS don't start. You understand? So from looking at your ID card, from getting to confirm that he's speaking to the right person, he will just gradually flow into the question. Are we together? So you'll be asked for your ID card, then introduce yourself, then he will now get into the question. And he's going to be asking you, like I said earlier, simple, basic questions that you can answer, and you need to give details. If they ask you what is your favorite subject, don't just say it's chemistry and stop there. If what's your favorite food, you say, oh, rice and stew and stop there. You have to go ahead to give details. Up to 2 or 3 more sentences, you have to give details, okay? So like I was trying to come up with an example from my head before getting an example from an IELTS resource. So what's your best subject? I love chemistry, but surprisingly, while I was in high school, I had better grades in biology and English. I believe that's as a result of my personal development towards becoming a medical doctor. So the question was just, what is your best subject? But you have to go ahead and, talk more. So one secret you can use, or one strategy you can use to achieve more responses, is using the 5 W's and the 1 H. And that is the what, the when, the who, the why, the where, and the how. You cannot come and use all of them. No. If you see the response I gave here, I used the when. I also use the why, but it's not like necessarily that why is in the sentence, but that I believe this is as a result of I was answering the question why. Do you understand? So I love chemistry, but I didn't do fantastic in it. So this is just you giving more. The question is your best subject. I love it, but I scored higher points. For you, it could also be you love it and you did well in it. You understand? If you don't know how to, use the if clause, the why clause, stick to positive, positive. Don't do positive, negative. Me, I did positive, negative here. For example, tell me about your mom. Normally, what people expect you to say, oh my God, my mom is amazing. But the negative positive response is, oh my God, my mom can be a pain, but she's the best woman in this world. If you don't know how to do that, please don't try it. Stick to positive, positive if you don't know how to do negative, positive, or positive, negative. There are people that are so good with negative, positive, and it can, if you are good at it, do it. If you're not, stick to what works for you. Am I making sense? Chat box if I'm making sense to somebody. And am I too fast? Can we communicate? Can you tell me something in the chat box? Somebody drop a message. Let me be sure you can hear me. Oh, nobody's talking. Type something. Yeah. Thank you, Fumilola. Fumilola. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue. Do not give a straight answer. Do not give a straight answer. Use the thank you, 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 thank you. All right, awesome. So use the what, let's go ahead and mute ourselves. Okay, let me mute everybody. Okay, use the what, the when, the who, the why, the where, and the how in trying to give details to your answer. All right, so let's proceed. So this is like an example. I got this from, there's a website I got this from. I'm going to share with us. I think I wrote it somewhere. So example of a question, Ielts speaking one, the third practice that was on the page. So do you have a job right now? You're tempted to say, oh, yes, I do. Okay, but you could go ahead and explain. Do you have a job right now? Oh, yes, I do. Currently, I work as a caregiver with Shakti and Sen Caregivers Academy. That is one of the best decisions I've made in my life, because now you're saying the why, because I get to care for people that are not able to care for themselves, daily. Now, I didn't think about this answer. It is just flowing. And guess what? It does not have to be true. Because somebody will now say, I've not been working for the past 7 years, so I've just been sitting at home taking care of my children. You will now say, blah, blah, blah. But funny enough, you can actually use that. So that is the positive negative that I'm talking about, not being in line with the question. So do you have a job right now? Oh, no, absolutely not. So my husband decided that I should stay home and take care of his children. Maybe after 5 years, maybe they've grown to a particular age, they're able to care for themselves, then I can get back to work. But I'm actually a professional, I'm an architect, I'm this. So the positive, negative, like the flowing in the direction of the question or flowing against the direction of the question, whatever is a question. Do you have a job? So I could have a job or I could not have a job. All right. So don't just say, do you have a job right now? Oh, yes, I do. You now stop. Okay. Do you enjoy your job? Yes, I enjoy it. You now stop. What responsibility do you have at work? Okay, I'm the one that has to take care of old people. You now stop. No, have a conversation. Enjoy yourself. Flow. What's your typical day like at work? Okay, so normally I resume by 8 a.m. or less. Maybe I'm on afternoon shift, which resumes at about 12 noon. So when I get to work, I have to first of all get on my work outfit. See, this Shakti has sent an advantage. You forget joke. For those of you who know they work. This Shakti is an advantage, right? So you remember your care plan, drafting of a care plan. It will help you to respond to this question. Let me mute everybody again. Okay, so you could say, I get to work at about 8 a.m. if I'm on morning shift, then at about 2 p.m. if I'm on afternoon shifts. So when I get to work, the first thing I have to do is get on my work clothes and sanitize myself and make sure that I'm in the good hygienic condition to get started. Then I go and introduce myself to my clients. Find out if he's doing well. I open my procedure. So what I do basically is to help them with what they should normally do by themselves. Just talk until they stop you. And do not feel bad when you're being stopped in Ielts speaking. They will not allow you to keep going on and on. It is better. It is a good thing that you're stopped than you pause and he's looking at you like, hello, you still have more time. So initially, people be like, I'll be talking, you just stop me. It's good. It's a good stuff. Normally in life, you're talking and somebody cuts you short. You're like, why did he cut me short? In this exam, it is good. It is better they are the ones to stop you than you're the one that stopped and they're still staring at you like, speak more. I hope I'm communicating. So be happy when you're stopped instead of what life tells us that wow, they talk that they just come interrupt me like that. Allow them to interrupt you. It's a good stuff. Okay, so these are like basic questions you should expect. Can you tell me about your hometown? You can say it is an amazing place. So I am from Cross River State. I've been local government in Cross River State, and my people are amazing people. Their food is something you need to experience. Our best meal is just go ahead and flow. Whether not true or no be true, they are not listening to the truthfulness of what you're saying. They are listening to your grammar, your pronunciation, your fluency, your lexicons, all those things. That is what they are listening to. So whether not true or whether not lie, nobody really cares. Let's continue. So these are more other kind of questions that you could have. Who is your best friend and why is the person your best friend? So you can actually be fun. Like this question, who is your best friend and why? Oh my God, I cannot wait to tell you why. So Noella is an amazing lady, and these are my reasons. The last time, you share talk. So you can be like, oh my God, I can't wait to explain how amazing she is to you. I'm sure you fall in love with her by the time I'm done telling you why she's my best friend. Be free, relax, have fun. I know as I'm talking now, some people are like, oh God, Mrs. West, oh, I'm not going to talk like this. See, pretend it. I know it's not your kind of person. It's not who you are to be talking this kind of. But my dear, pretend it is an exam. Act it. Is Act it. It's not you. But just go there and put up a show. And when you're done, collect your result and be going your way. So don't say, this is not me, oh, this is not how I talk, oh, me, I'm an introvert. There ain't no introvert here. It's an exam, and there's something they're looking out for, and that thing they're looking out for is what you have to give to them, period. Period. You have to give it to them. Okay? So the part two, which is the long term, like I said, they're going to give you a topic card, and I told you people during my turn, they gave me a topic, they told me the topic and gave me a plain card. So I don't know if they're going to be giving you a topic card, whatever the case may be. So if they give you a topic card, good for you. There's usually a bullet point. Where did it happen? How did it happen? Who did it happen with? Blah, blah, blah. You are not the one to now fill it in. But if that doesn't happen, create a bullet point yourself. So you will have 1 minute. This is now the part two of the speaking test. I started by saying the speaking test has 3 parts. The first part is just the chit-chat conversation. The second part is this long term, where they'll give you a topic, allow you to prepare for it for 1 minute. Then once you're done, once your 1 minute has expired, they'll tell you, okay, now start talking about that topic. And nobody is talking back with you. It is not a conversation. They've given you a topic. You're going to be the one to speak alone. I'm coming, sorry. Oh, I'm coming. So you're going to be the one to be speaking alone for 2 minutes. Nobody's going to ask you, okay, so what happened? No. So in that bullet point, in that paper, you have to write down as many bullet points as possible. It could be bullet points, it could be tables for you to fill in. It could be like a map, whatever it is, just fill it in and have as many points to talk about that can last you 2 minutes. Don't think 2 minutes is short. It is not that short. You'll not be talking fast. Blah, 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 blah. You just finish everything in your paper and your 2 minutes is still remaining. Like I said, it is better you talk and they stop you than you talk and stop and they're staring at you because you still have time. Okay, so the topics are random and cannot be predicted, okay? But they are normal topics that anybody in the world can talk about. The good thing is that you can lie, you can generate story, you can put one thing. Like I said, it is not the truthfulness of what you're saying that they're looking at. They are looking at your, the 4 things I said. They're looking out for the pronunciation, the grammatical structure, the vocabulary you're using, etc., and your fluency and your coherency. So the ability to speak continuously and to make sense. Those are the things they are looking at. Your ability to speak continuously, your ability to make sense, your ability to use good vocabularies well. Don't use big English that you don't know what it means. No, that's not the point. But if you know how to use big vocabulary and you're using it well, good and fine. Use the right grammar. Don't use past tense in present tense. Don't use singular and plural. Then then your pronunciation. They need to hear what you are saying. So let's go to some of the examples of what the part 2 question. So they could tell you, describe a time when you were really proud of yourself. Okay? Describe a time when you are really proud of yourself. Talk about a hobby that you enjoy. That's just the topic. Then you have to prepare. So let's take the first one, for example. Describe a time you are really proud of yourself. First of all, in your bullet points, in that paper they give you, you discuss the time when you graduated from school and why were you happy? Because you got a 2-1, you got a first class, you talk about the challenge. You just write bullet point challenges, 2-1, school, my parents, the happiness in their face, bullet points, bullet points. Now when you now start talking those 2 minutes, they will still allow you to look at that paper. You're allowed to look at the paper, it's fine. So when I look at graduation, you know what you want to say. When you look at 2-1, you know what you want to say. When you look at expression on my parents' face. So those bullet points are things that will keep you going, things that will guide you to keep talking. Okay, so write as many bullet points or as many points as possible. It might not be in a bullet point format, it might be in a table structure, it might be in a map structure, whatever structure they use, just keep talking, until you get to your 2 minutes. So it could be, tell me about the place you have visited that you really liked. So you have to be talking about that place for 2 minutes. So try not to go off point. You're talking about a place. So a place you must talk about. Don't talk about a place and now say, I went there with my husband. My husband really liked the place. In fact, my husband now told me. You have left talking about a place to talking about your husband. So that's going off point. You're no longer being coherent, right? I mean, that's the English. You're not now focusing on what you're being told. All right. So now you have to take notes. Cover all the topics in your clue card. Now, remember I said it might be a plain card, but if it's a card that has topics, use the topics and follow the order in which the bullet points are listed. Write keywords or short sentences that will serve as a reminder for you. When you see 2-1, you know what you want to say. When you see expression on my parents' face, you know what you want to say. When you see, how I felt, you know what you want to say. All right. So have multiple ideas for answers for one question. Have multiple answers for even one question. Okay, so that you're not limited to saying just one thing. Then add vocabulary that you know how to use. So the thing is, avoid straight English. I loved the place. I was happy to see my dad, the facial expression on my dad's face. Don't use happy, use excited, use good vocabularies, other words, okay, that still means the same thing. Use vocabularies as much as you can. Now, when I say vocabulary, it does not mean you should not come and sound like what's this man that used to break serious grammar. No, be that kind of grammar, because you don't put yourself inside trouble. Just use synonyms, antonyms, just use something, related, nearest in meaning, use words that are not the normal everyday words that you should use. Then show that you have good control and good command of English. All right. So this is another question. Describe an advertisement that persuaded you to buy a product. So this is not an example of what you should write. The question alone is describe an advertisement that persuaded you to buy a product. That's the question, and that's all. So what you now write in your bullet points, what the advert was about. Was it about Coca-Cola? Was it about the weight loss product? So just write weight loss. Maybe write the name of the product, Slim Bold or ISOT, whatever. Where did you see the advert? Was it on Instagram? I saw it on Coach Tommy's page. Was it on radio? Whatever. Then what was it about? What was it about the product? The fact that I was already a plus size, I needed to lose weight. I have tried so many products that didn't work. I liked their what is this again? I liked their reviews. Their reviews were unbelievable and they were so real, they were so relatable. You just write in bullet points so that when you now start talking, when you see relatable, you could say, like, the day I finally made up my mind was when I saw a friend I used to know. So this couldn't have been an act, because I knew her in school. She was on the big side and now she was small. So I was super convinced by that advert, so you can, like I said, all this on what they talk, it no be true. It doesn't have to be true, So, but remember, the key word in this question is, number one, it's an advert. Number two, it persuaded you to do what? Buy a product. So that is the question. Stick to the question and explain in details how the whole thing happened. And remember, you have 2 minutes. So what you can try to be doing at home now is use your phone and put your timer, 2 minutes, stopwatch or whatever, put a timer, 2 minutes, and talk and see what 2 minutes actually feels like talking. because you just feel like 2 minutes short, or you want to go and talk before you know it, 45 minutes you're done talking, and you still have 1 minute 15 seconds to go. I mean 45 seconds you're done talking. So start timing yourself and try to answer questions and see what 2 minutes look like. If the question is one technical question that you don't have plenty answers to, the secret you could use is to talk calmly, not slowly. Don't be too slow. Don't be too slow that I saw this ad on Instagram. No, don't talk so slow, but you can talk calmly. So like you don't have to now say, oh, blah, 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 blah. Don't talk like me, oh. Try to bite your tongue. Me, I'm a talker by by everything. I've been talking for a very long time. All right. So let's proceed. Let's proceed. So explain why you think the adverts made the product seem attractive, So these are other kinds of questions talking about a painting you would like to have in your home. So somebody like me that does not even understand what is happening in painting world, I usually um I usually feel weird when I see people see painting and they're like, oh my God, this is beautiful. Like they look and I say, what is beautiful? Like for me personally, painting doesn't make any sense to me. But if this kind of question comes, talk about the painting you would like to have in your home. The truth is that I will have to lie. I have to do a structured 2 minutes live because I ain't like no painting. There ain't no painting I want in my home. There no painting. In fact, all the drawing of myself I have as a gift. If you have gone upstairs in Shakti and Sense where Mr. Jones is staying, I just arrange all of them somewhere. So this is an idea. Don't give me painting gift. I won't use it. Like I don't appreciate art, unfortunately. Sorry for all the art people listening to me, but that's just me, right? So, but I have to answer this question anyhow. So you have to structure what the painting is, create something in your mind, create a picture. Shall I explain something? How much it costs? It's quite expensive. Oh, I got it as a gift, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And why do you want it in your home? I want it in my home because it kind of reminds me or it resonates. Resonate is now you trying to use a vocabulary. Instead of using remind, you're using it resonate or it brings to memories, blah, blah, blah. So what are the strategies that will help you in this part 2 of the speaking? Try to tell a story. Everybody loves story. Even in the world of marketing, there's something that is called the act of storytelling. Even, in fact, that's the new strategy they use online. If you're always on Instagram, you now see all these Indian people, they'll say, oh, she became poor so that she will see if the man really loves her. I know some of you are following victim of all those movies. You now watch, now reach a time, and I say pay $5. I they jump and pass. I say pay with $5. But I'm sure some of you have been paying to watch it till the end. Why? Because it is a story. Story is compelling. Story keeps people to, pay attention. It doesn't have to be true. So tell a story. Everybody loves stories. If you don't have a real life answer to the question, make it up. So you're painting a picture in the mind of the examiner, so you cannot believe the reason why I decided to buy this product. So you're painting a picture. So it all started, my love for this product started about 7 years ago when I just had my daughter. So I had my daughter and I had stretch marks all over. My stomach was horrible. In fact, at some point, my husband hated to see me off my clothes. Things like that. So you're painting a picture in his mind. So what now finally convinced you? How the thing? So this thing when I talk now, I don't think it just they enter my head. May he enter your head like that day in the name of the Lord. Amen. Amen. So you have to paint a picture in the mind of the examiner, tell them stories, give descriptive examples. So, okay, so that's where I got some of these questions from. And the good thing is that it has a 7 days free trial. It's a paid website, but you can use it for 7 days free. So do not start using it if you're not ready to sit down for 7 days and start using all these tests. So the website is bestmytest.com. Maybe I'll also show us the website after tonight's class. I want us to end by 10, no matter what. Today is just an hour class. All right. So you go and check that out and do some Try to answer as many questions. They have up to 20, 30 questions, so that you have an idea of what these questions look like. Okay? So now the part 3, which is usually the most difficult part, but when we say difficult part, it's not like it's gang difficult. You understand? It's not serious difficult. It's just that the beginning one was just a chat. The second one was just you talking for 2 minutes. But the third one is the most difficult part. But the main reason it is called the most difficult part is because there's no preparation time. Of course, the section 1 does not need a preparation time because they're asking you questions that everybody can relate with. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite TV channel? Everybody has an answer to that question. Now, question 2, they're giving you time. So it might not be something you're used to, but they give you time. But section 3, no time for preparation. Okay, no time for preparation. So, but there's a strategy we can use to boycott this, and that is using delay tactics. You say, well, I've never thought of that, but let me see. Can you rephrase that question? These are 4 different delay strategies. Well, please don't always say reduce your use other things. We've taught ad libs in Shakti and Sense training. Awesome. Okay, this is an amazing question. Those are delay tactics to try to buy time to begin to think of what you want to say. All right. So let me see. Can you rephrase that question a bit? That you're asking them to rephrase the question does not mean you do not understand what they said, though. So don't just say you're asking them to rephrase the question because you didn't hear. You heard, you understood, but you need time to think of how to structure this your answer. So can you help me rephrase that question a little bit? So as he's now rephrasing or she's rephrasing, you are now beginning to structure an answer. Okay, I have never actually thought about that, but I'm thinking these are delay tactics. These are you buying time. And this part 3 does not necessarily have to connect to part 1 or part 2. It doesn't have to connect. And no matter the question, do not give short answers. Do not give short answers. Give detailed answers. Give examples. Examples will help you to have more things to talk about. Have more things to talk about. And remember, also, in this part 3, good night. In this part 3, whatever it is you are talking about, still maintain your vocabulary, still maintain your grammar, still maintain your lexicon, still maintain your ability to be consistent and steady and making sense. It works in all of them, irrespective of the section you are dealing with. Okay. So with what we've done now, I'm still going to show us more examples from that website. But what we've done now, you now understand the kind of thing you're searching for. Don't just go to Google and say preparing for Ielts. Be detailed on what you're preparing for. Questions, section 3 questions, possible section 3 questions of Ielts, how to answer section 2 question in my speaking test, what do you understand? So you begin to have a clear understanding of what Ielts entails and how you can answer the question. Any question while I try to open up this so this website, this is the website I told you guys about, bestmytest.com. They have 183 practice questions. So you can have an idea of the questions to expect. Describe a family member that you get on well with. So you should mention their personality, of course, their name, their personality, the things you like about them, what you dislike about them, blah, blah, blah. So this website is going to help you. Like I told you, he has a 7-day free trial up here. Okay, so you're not paying. And remember to cancel. If not, they will charge your card. So if you're paying on Monday, by Saturday, cancel your subscription. You have done all your trials, you've done everything you want to do, cancel subscription, and nothing will happen. So that's one website that I really find really, really amazing. I wanted to show us. Okay, now this is another website, ieltsleads.com. So the kind of questions for that part 3 that does not give you time to prepare. Adverts on arts, on books, What kind of books do children in your country like to read? Okay, so you can say folk tales, and the reason why you think that is the right on business, on celebrities, on clothes, on culture, decision making. Why do some people find it difficult to make decisions? People are usually afraid because they have one chance to get it right or get it wrong. Shut up, one thing, and flow. Okay, on education, on your environment, on your family, on food, on health, on the internet, on languages, on leadership, media and news, on movies, on nature. Now they're not going to ask you all this. They'll ask you just one. One. Somebody. Sorry, I didn't know I was talking to myself. Okay. So when there are possibilities that somebody, at what point did you guys stop hearing me? Because I've been talking for a long time. What was I saying? Let me just flow. Let me just flow. Share back my screen. Okay. So I was saying that maybe the person that interviewed before you, they interviewed the person about photography, on leadership, then you now say, sorry, oh, it has been kicking me out and kicking me in. All right. I hope that doesn't happen again. Okay, so I was saying that the person they interviewed before you might have been asked questions on leadership. Then when the person comes out, the person will tell you, my question was on leadership. You now want to now start rehearsing about leadership. When you enter there, they'll just ask you another question on nature, on media and news, on movies. Okay. So this just gives you an idea of questions that should come, and be prepared for anything. Now, if you want to say you want to cram all these questions and the answer to all these questions, it is not true. There's no need for all that. So just have an idea and be ready to flow. Assume you're gisting with a friend in school or at work. You're gisting with a friend and your friend is asking you, what acts do you enjoy? Will you be scared to answer that question? You shall say something. Okay? So be free to go through the questions just to be knowledgeable of the kind of questions that are there. Search for possible answers, understand what possible answers should look like, and go with the flow. And just go with the flow. Okay? And remember, the focus here is your consistency, you making sense, using good right vocabularies well, using the right grammar, and your pronunciation being audible. That is what they are looking out for. Even if you are having an argument like I ended up having in my own, what they were not after whether I had a TV or whether I watched TV or not. They were after how I spoke. Is that okay? Any question? Any question? Did we learn anything tonight? Let me stop the recording here so that we can be free to ask our questions. Let's not record